Hello, hello, hello. Coffee. Giver of life. Maintainer of sanity, right? I know. I shouldn't be doing this right now. I'm still sick, but man, I'm in latakia withdrawal. With the latakia withdrawal, I just am. So, we've got the 321 Savinelli Dolomiti. Little baby 320. So it's not a huge pipe full, but I'm gonna torch some tin Russians. Got it pre-charged. It's been at least a few days. Oh, good Lord. It's right up there with that first sip of coffee in the morning. Latakia. Oh, how I've missed thee. Sweet, sweet dark leaf. The only way that gets better, add coffee. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, excuse me, I'm making a mess. It's been too long, too long. You know, 10 Russians is not necessarily my favorite, although it is clearly a favorite of a lot of people in the Captain Earl's line and in the heavy lat genre of English tobaccos. As is, of course, Quiet Nights, my own much beloved private stock, aged. Because I say aged because I like it with some age. And Diamond Head is another really good one. I like that. I like that quite a bit. You don't hear much about that. And I don't know why. It's a hell of a blend. But I have to admit, and I've got a tin of Gaslight sitting right there. But I don't know. I just felt for some reason like Gaslight might be a little too much. I'm still sick. I probably shouldn't be smoking anything heavy right now. This has that little bit of Black Cavendish in there with it. So I felt like it would probably smooth things out enough that maybe it wouldn't attack me. Bronco, you know. And I got the door open, so I shouldn't actually be inhaling very much of this. Because I feel like you kind of inhale some secondhand when you fill the room up with wafting smoke, you know. So, and I'm bad about, I'm going to keep my heat in. I'm going to leave the door shut, you know, but it's not that cold yet. Cold weather's on the way back, though. Tonight it won't be too bad. It was a little on the chilly side last night, but the next couple nights it moves back to, I think Thursday and Friday it moves down to the mid to low 20s. So, be a good time to keep the brass monkeys in. Very happy I have a cool little. There's my heater ramping up, reminding me. Hey, you left me on and you've got the door open, idiot. close it in a bit. So. Oh, we are nothing if not energy efficient here at the Liberty Lounge. Burn some more fossil fuel. I'm smoking over here. Forget about it. This is a good blend. I don't think it's particularly it's got Orientals in there. And I want to say there's a little bit of a Turkish leaf in there. But it's pushed further back in this blend. I feel like that's probably some people that like this over some of the other heavy lats enjoy that the I don't think it's so much that the latakia is pushed forward. I think it's that the mid range small leaf package is pushed back a little. So it's the same thing as bringing up the volume on that. You get a little bit more of the red Virginia thing popping out. I mean, not enough that you're going to be sitting there like, red Virginia, but you'll know that it's in there. If you like red Virginias, you'll catch it. Red Virginia does nice things with a heavy lat blend, and I really enjoy that about the Captain. I started to say Captain P's line. Captain Earl's line. It was a Freudian slip because it's almost, to me, it's a lot of those blends are on that same level. You know, I put them a little further up than I do most of the regular C&D stuff. Oh, man, that is good stuff. I have missed my latakias. And I just decided to heck with it, man. I gotta have some. I even broke down the other day and I chooched a little bit of Elizabethan. And I'm like, no, that's not it. I chooched a little bit of a Bold Kentucky I had a half pipe laying around of. And I'm like, no, that's not helping me at all. I realized that was a mistake. And as much as I like that, that was not helping me in the bronchial area. So I've just been smoking like pretty much Carter Hall for a couple days. And I love Carter Hall. Don't get me wrong, it's a great OTC. But when you haven't had a good heavy English, Balkan, anything in that realm for a few days, and I love them all, but that's kind of my wheelhouse, I think. You know, Oriental forward heavy lats. You know, plenty of enough nice Virginias that they're in there. But I like my Oriental leaf. I like the little bit of Turkish going on, like that tangy tartness with the sweet reds playing with each other, and that big hefty dragon breath of latakia carrying the whole thing forward. And it's funny because I had a bowl of this at one point, and I don't know if it was just the day, just the particular pipes full that I grabbed, or what, but I remember thinking, man, this has a lot of Cavendish in it compared to what I remember. Ooh, that sounded expensive. And I don't feel that way at all now. I think I can discern it's there. It's adding some smoothness and a little bit of sweetness. You know, it's not overly, I don't think it's sweetened. I think it's just like some toasted unflavored black Cavendish. I'm sure it's cased a little bit. But it's not sugared up or anything. But it's nicely tucked in today. I don't know if that, from day to day, your taste can change, and you never know. You know, it could have just been that day, that little chunk I grabbed could have had a big old nugget of Cavendish in it for some reason. Goes to show, you know, you always need to come back to a blend. And try it again on another day, maybe in another pipe. You never know. At the moment, it's reminded me a little bit of aged private stock. It doesn't have the same bounce points, and it doesn't have the fruited out perique in it. You know that I really like. There's not a lot of perique in private stock, but when it gets some age on it, and the it starts off Oriental forward, like on a fresh tin, it's very balcony. You know, it's still got a good amount of lats to it, and it's got a nice balance of Virginias in it, plenty of red, and it's got that little bit of peppery perique. But that peppery really drops back and it fruits out a little bit, gives you more of that plum, figgy, low-key spiciness in the background, and there's not a ton of it in there, so it doesn't take much falling back for it to do that. And then the sharper small leaf in the middle of that really ages out nice and smooths out. And when you get 3 or 4 years on it, it's a joy. But this, with that little bit of Cavendish, I think, you know, it's kind of accomplishing sort of the same thing a different way. And that's kind of the Captain Piece. That's the Captain Earl's line. It's like, hey, let's take 1,000 different stabs at Englishes and balcony Englishes, latakia forward Englishes, you know, all different contours of, you know, Oriental small leaf blends. And then they do the same thing, playing with Virginias and Perique and different leaves, and it's an interesting line. It jumps around enough that everything in that line is very interesting. I'm sure there's a few in there I won't care for, but I haven't got anything that's like just ill-conceived or poorly put together in that line. I feel like they're all quality tobaccos, even if you find one you don't like. You know, jar it and come back to it. You never know, because some of that line needs some age too to really shine. And I opened this one a month or two ago, but it's fairly recent production. I think it's within 6 or 8 months of new, so it's current production essentially. And this one doesn't require any age. It's good right out. And, you know, Gaslight's like that. And I hear the Gaslight's better with age, but it's fine right out. I'm hoping that new Sparkplug blend is like that. I haven't got a hold of that yet. I could have ordered some this morning, but I decided to go a different direction on what I ordered. And got something I think the wife might enjoy as well. So whenever I do another 10 order, I'm going to definitely get some of that Sparkplug from GLPs and give it a try. And I'm hearing good things about it. And I want to buy a 10 or 2 just to put back and let age too. May have slightly overpacked it. It's not bad though. I also gave it 0 tray time, so it doesn't really usually need any. Yes, 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 yes. Good gravy. I'm enjoying this. And this is one of those where it gets billed as a lat bomb very often when it's actually just a really good medium to heavy English blend, in my opinion. And I don't think I would categorize this one a Balkan because I don't feel like it's got enough Oriental Turkish forward. I don't feel like it is forward. You can clearly detect it. And they're nice. Nice small leaf in it. And you can taste the reds. You can tell the Cavendish is in there. Now that I'm into about the... I don't know if we're quite to the halfway point yet, but we're at least a third in. This is that point where the reds start to naturally stove a little bit and really shine. And they can only pop out here and there because you do have a very strong hand of a latakia, Cyprian latakia in it. But overall, it's one of those blends that it doesn't hit you with the components, it hits you with the overall profile. And that's what I really like in a blend. That to me is the mark of a well thought out blend. And I think that's part of why these do well as crumble cakes. I think it helps marry everything. I don't remember if this is stoved and pressed or just pressed into crumble cakes, but it's very nice. You gotta like latakia, but I hate to just have it billed as a lap bomb because there's more going on than that. But it is a really good medium to full flavor, somewhere in that range English, and it's a good one. I like it. It reminds me a lot of Balkan Supreme, but the Orientals are not, especially the Turkish, are not as far forward in this. And I feel like there's a little bit more Red Virginia. Which is not a bad thing because there's times where that one can seem a little, even though I really like that type of blend, it can be a bit much depending on the mood you're in. And there's times where it's just right. But for times when that's a little too much, this is a really good blend to dial it back just a hair in the mid-range and still get your lats and your reds and still have some presence of some nice Orientals. Which is probably that, along with being pressed into a crumble cake a bit. I think, it does hit you a little bit more as a unified profile. Not the Balkan Supreme doesn't, because I've got it jarred so tight that in the jars that, by the time I break a jar out, it may as well have been almost in a crumble cake for a few months. But this is good. This is good. You're not going to hear me trash talk it. That's a good smoke, especially when you haven't had lats for a few days. And probably it being a little more moderated in the Orientals is probably good for me right now. So this ended up being a really nice choice for today. I don't know if I should have done it or not, but I'm glad I did. I am glad I did. No regrets. No regrets. Tattoo humor. Man. It reminds me a little bit of Westminster. It does. Except it's got more reds, I feel like, in this. And again, not as many, reining in that mid-range of Orientals a bit. But the Orientals that are there are very much like Westminster. I feel like if you added a little more latakia to Westminster and took away a little bit of the Orientals level-wise and added a pinch more Red Virginia in with it and pressed it into a crumble cake, you'd probably pretty much have this. That's my story anyway. Am I right? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I like it. That's the thing about art, wine, you know, comedy, any music, anything like that. We live in this aficionado, society where, especially the hipster culture of, oh, I knew everything about that and did all that before it was cool, and that whole BS. You don't have to know. You don't have to be a world expert in everything. You just have to know what you like and don't like. And building a vocabulary to help you express that and to help you communicate with other people to find other things you'll like is definitely a worthy use of your time and efforts. Now, so you can sit back and, professor of all tobacco knowledge here. I believe this one is cased with zero point 0.2 cc's of, you know, that doesn't help anybody. It's really, you've got to figure it out more for your own purposes than anything else. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're not smoking these things just to sit back and enjoy a pipe, we're wasting our time. I don't know how you could not sit back and enjoy a pipe. I enjoy talking about it because I do tend to yammer on. And I'd be thinking out loud about these things. Or maybe not out loud, but probably. Anyway, so I may as well roll, right? My dogs all know what I think about every blend, to put it that way. So good. And I'm happy to report that the little bit of a ghost that was in this when I got it as an estate seems to be officially dead. I believe the haunted bookshop. I smoked a few heavy lats in it, but I think it was the haunted bookshop that just killed it, man. It was on its way down, It always hangs on more towards the second half of a bowl when you've got a little bit of a ghost in something. And especially at the bottom, it seems like anything that's going to cook out of the bottom, that's when the little last bit will pop up. But man, that haunted bookshop, man, that's like The Exorcist. Haunted bookshop is like, what? You got a little faint notion of putting what? Get out of my way, ghost. Have some Perique. Have a buttload of Burley. We got more smoke than Hades up in here. Up in here. So, yeah, apparently that's a good one to get de-ghost with. Who would have thunk it? But, yeah, I'm not getting anything now that I don't want. It wouldn't surprise me if a little hint popped back in the bottom of it or something, but I don't know. It's looking promising, Captain. Good gravy. I have missed the latakia. In all thine forms. It's not just the latakia, it's that dance, that I was talking about. Even with different contours in the mid-range, of the small leaf. And, then you got your Virginias on the top end, and they'll span a little bit depending on what Virginias you have in there. But, with a heavy lat blend, you do mostly get the lats, but you get this, the Oriental is usually the next big thing that can get through. But then especially as you get down the bowl and it develops, it's like, ooh, here's some toasty Virginia for you. Weren't expecting that. Oh, no, we're back to the Oriental. Ooh, latakia. It does this little dance back and forth. And I just love that. It's not that it keeps you on your toes, it just keeps you enjoying different sides of it, as it goes. And I guess that's the mark of a good blend, you can enjoy it all the way down. Oh, I must have over-tamped. Rookie mistake. It happens. We all do it. Especially when we're yakking and not paying attention. Pipe foul. First down. 10-yard penalty. It's a pipe, man. It's not a competition. It's an exercise in relaxation. So I hope you're enjoying something with me here this morning. Well, it's not really probably morning anymore. It's probably going on to lunchtime now. By the time I got out here. Man, this is one of those very nearly religious experiences. It's just... Glad you're here. And I mean that too. I'm not just being funny. I'm glad all you guys that are hanging out with me are hanging out with me. I don't know how many of you there are that actually make it all the way through these long rambly smokes, but God bless every one of you for being as bored as I am. I do appreciate you. And, we might never get to hang out, out there, but, from our man caves and our smokers' dens and lounges, we are the great united army of introverts. Some of us are louder introverts than others, I guess. And that's okay. I understand. But anyway, we're going on 28 minutes nearly, so let's see where this is at, just out of curiosity. I would say we're a little past halfway, so that's not bad. That's not bad. This is a fairly modest-sized bowl. I mean, I'd call it standard average. It's like 1.3-ish by 0.73, 0.75-ish, I think. Somewhere in that neighborhood. It's not a KS bowl. It's dwarfed by the full-size 320 bowl. But smoke's good. It is a good smoking pipe. And honestly, I've had a few days with this pipe now. I will say that while it doesn't feel the hand exactly the same as the 320 because I have huge hands, if you're a guy that pipe is a little big for, this really does smoke a lot like a 320. Surprise, surprise. In that little bit narrower chamber, it doesn't hurt a thing, believe me. If anything, it improves things a little bit. Not to say the 320 doesn't smoke fine, because it does. But, you're not giving up anything, is what I'm saying, other than a little bit of volume. And it can take you a while to smoke a big bowl like a 320, I'll tell you that. So, if you're like a lot of us and you don't have an hour, this one, it looks like you're looking at 45 minutes to an hour anyway with something like this in it. And I'm freight training a little bit. I know I am, but I don't care. I'm enjoying it. Anyway, let's cut this short. We're at a friggin' half hour, man. Can you believe it? So I'm going to finish this up, finish yours up, and you have yourself a wonderful rest of the day or evening or afternoon, whenever you end up watching this. Love you guys. John Boy the U.S. Piper, out!